Hey, good evening. Good evening, everyone. It's Barry with Showbiz Blueprint, and yeah, I want to jump in here quick. Very few notes, no notes, scribbles, and no fancy presentation, but there's a lot going on right now. And I look at this as a key week in our lives as entertainers. Quick warning, probably going to offend somebody. I don't know. Let me make sure I got some volume here. I hope so. I have no, yeah, good. No brain right now for technical stuff. It was all I could do to get down here and turn this on. I'm probably going to offend somebody right now. You know, this is live. I'm speaking from the heart. I may be wrong, whatever it is. And it's bubbling up inside of me, so I want to get some things out in hopes that it'll serve the thousands of entertainers who follow this page on my email list. This will get shared in the communities, I hope. Yeah, this all happened for me yesterday, believe it or not. 6 days into as anyone who's ever worked with me knows, I'm not a big news guy. I take a lot of time away from the news because I like to keep my eyes out the window on what's coming up for my clients, for my business, for entertainers in general, where we stand, and all that disruption. My heart, my psyche, my emotions, whatever, aren't strong enough to hold all that stuff. So maybe 10 times a year, I just take weeks off news. So this all happened for me yesterday. Honestly, I jumped into the news, or somebody said something. I think I had said something in a group, and someone said, "Wow, that seems really tone deaf right now." So I went, "Oh shit!" And I turned on the news and just to look what was happening. Yeah, you know, and a lot's going on right now. And what it made me think of right away is this is the time we're doubling down as entertainers, right? Our impact on the world, how we show up. I mean, go back the last 2 months. I've been talking heavily about digital entertainment, virtual conferences, how we've been doing that. I've been doing them. Members of my alumni group, COVID cohort I started a month or so ago, we're all talking about that, and we're serving clients digitally now. And it's the growth I've seen is incredible. In fact, all the alumni who are watching this know that this week on Showbiz Blueprint we have something quite remarkable coming up in terms of a panel of people who are really taking this, and I want it to be a learning for everyone. But that's what I've been talking about. And now, Minneapolis, right? George Floyd, racism again, just like 28 years ago when I was in Los Angeles, Rodney King. You know, it's insane, right? Now it's about our responsibility as artists. And I know one thing, I know for many of us, it's easier to stay in the place of wishing it was all better, hoping the gigs would go away, disappear. It's scary to take a risk. It's scary to do this right now. My wife and son are upstairs, and you know, I could be hanging out with them, and I said, I have to go talk about this. There's just something so intense right now happening, and I don't know exactly how to hold it, but I do want to share what's going on inside of me. You know, and there's this us and them conversation that I want to have at the end of this live, maybe in about 10 or 15 minutes. The us and them conversation. You know what? Let me start with that instead. No plan on how I want to talk about this. But the us and them conversation is that there is us and that there's them. That is a societal, cultural shadow. Shadow is what we choose to hide or repress or deny and not speak about, pretend isn't here. It's a cultural shadow we have, that there is an us and a them. And well, I can tell you that that packaging might feel really good. It doesn't work. We are one. Us and them is a foundational cultural shadow we have. If one person can't breathe, if one man can't breathe, none of us can breathe. So as artists, what do? We rose in the last couple months. We've been serving our clients as far as entertainment, adapting to you know, this thing instead of the stage. It's technology instead of showing up with a trunk of props. Performing in quiet rooms like this instead of two roaring audiences. We've adapted because we need to do what we've always done in culture, the artists, the entertainers, the authors, the entrepreneurs. We are the ones. The politicians will do their thing, the business people do their things, and it's always us who make it okay, who tell culture when it's okay to start feeling human again. So we aren't together right now. None of us are together right now. Isolation, quarantine is the world order right now. And within that, we are all connected through amazing mediums, digital and community, family, these places we still have to connect in. And what I want to tell you is from a distance, we still have a mighty voice. We have a huge voice. My voice is breaking. I've been in tears a lot of the day, hiking and just feeling it and thinking about all the work I've done in my life with volunteer organizations, with Boys to Men, with Mankind Project, equality. It's insane from where I was born to a racist family, a racist parent, a racist dad, I'll just say it, who was there, in a time when everyone was that way. That's how white people were in those days, and that's carried down the generations. And the work that this generation is doing and my son's generation is doing, I have faith in the future. And for the artists, we have to have a voice right now. We have to have a voice. So what do? You know what to do. You make art, you serve, you connect. You write, you record, you show up, you take risks. And you do that which it would be easier to not do. It's always been us. It's always been us, and it will always be us. That's our job, I used to think our job was getting on airplanes and flying to Orlando, spending 2.5 days of life for a very good paycheck to be on stage for 1 hour. But even in those situations, I realized what the job was making people connect and feel human and engage. All right, I've done shows for companies who I foundationally disagree with their principles, tobacco companies, chemical companies, a lot of pharmaceutical companies. Some of the things I've heard at pharma companies, hit me up on those one day in person. When we all meet again, I don't want any of those stories recorded for eternity. But yeah, the things I've heard at those meetings, it's a different world than a lot of us see. So it's always been us. So that's what we do. We keep creating. We keep creating. One thing I want to say is during this COVID time and now during this time when racial tensions will again rise, and why does it ever settle? Why does it ever sink down? Why did it sink down from 28 years ago when Rodney King was the center of that pointless crime, was the center of a looting and rioting and racial tensions? Why does it settle down? I don't know. In that time, I've only dug deeper, and I know a lot of people have, and I like to hang in circles with people who have. And I want it to spread. I don't believe in the us and them. I believe we are one. So, and another thing is, I don't know what any of this is like for another person. I've talked about this in my groups that I work and coach in and lead. I don't know what it's like for another person. So my expectations for anyone during this time of COVID have fallen. I don't expect anything. Not that I want less, but that I just don't know what it's like for them. So I keep the expectations down so that I can accept them as they are, connect with them on that place. What do I know? Yeah, I didn't know the name George Floyd 2 days ago. As I said at the beginning of this, if you missed that, I was on a week-long news diet, no news. It's funny, on my computer, on my laptop, every computer I share bookmarks, and I only have bookmarks, like for Facebook, for the groups that I go to serve, and that's where I go during those weeks. I don't go to the scroll. I just don't do that. I click on a button and I'm in a group that I'm a part of. So erased from all that. So the name George Floyd, I didn't know it a week ago. I learned it yesterday. Looking into him, I see he was a state champion in high school, I think in 92. 92, the same year as Rodney King. How about that connection? I know that right now there's 2 girls, 6 and 22, I read, who don't have a dad. I know that. Derek Chauvin, this cop in Minneapolis. I don't know if he's a good man. I don't know if he's a bad man. Data says he has 18 complaints on his official police record. Data says and videos show that he didn't get off a guy's neck for 8.5 minutes. A guy who couldn't have gotten up if you let him, handcuffed it behind his back. He couldn't have gotten up. I played around with that today, and I just saw, can I get up with my hands tied behind my back? And I really can't get up, and I'm in decent shape. I know this Minneapolis police officer. I know he's killed in the line of duty before. Yeah, I read it. I know, I saw a video. He had his hands smugly in his pocket at the time that he was killing a man with his own body. I own that as a white male in this country, I have great privilege. There are dozens or 100 things, I don't know, I could probably just keep naming, that I can do without thinking that a 58-year-old black man either does with great caution or just doesn't do. I know that. I feel that. I don't know that George Floyd ever had the opportunity or the luxury to choose not to watch the news for a week. I don't even know if it ever entered his mind. That's a privilege I have. I'm owning that. And I use that privilege. I've used it to tear down old ways of being. It's a long game. It's nothing quick. There's nothing quick about it, as we've seen. What I want to encourage every entertainer who's watching this right now, and the ones who aren't, share it with your friends, but this is a key time. This is once again the time, not only now, but the time to find it into your publishing, into your creativity schedule, to find ways to speak out and do what we can to kill the inequalities, to level the playing field. I don't know if we'll see it in this lifetime. I have no idea. I said to my wife on a hike this morning, I said, maybe the only way to do this is a human Zamboni, just a wipeout and a start over and hope that it's better next time. I don't know if it would be. But as entertainers, I know that this is the time for us to create, to write, to record, to show up, to speak, to take risks, just like we've always done, just like we've always done. Do it for yourself, for the people you'll never know, for the generations that are to come. And damn, do it if you have family, if you have kids who are watching you, set the example. All right, this is Barry with Showbiz Blueprint. Thanks for tuning in. Let's make it a big week.